We are here to talk about petroleum regulations, local content, and then what we've been doing to ensure there's professional development in the sector. So that's the outline. So briefly, Petroleum Commission, the oil and gas sector obviously is not as old as the mining industry. So we were set up by law in 2011 by an act passed in Parliament, and we've been given a mandate to regulate, manage, and coordinate all hydrocarbons that have been discovered and those yet to be discovered. So our vision as an upstream regulator is to be a world-class regulator promoting Ghana as an upstream hub. And our mission is to ensure that we coordinate, we manage, we regulate the resource in a sustainable manner so that we can extract the most benefits or most value for the people of Ghana. So the functions of the Petroleum Commission. So like I've said, what we do is we regulate the exploration, development, and production. I'm sure we all know the oil and gas industry. It starts from exploration, we develop what we find, and then we produce oil. So the next thing we do is to ensure that these resources are utilized very well, optimally. And the next thing we also do is we coordinate all upstream petroleum policies. So we coordinate, we liaise with relevant MDAs to come up with policies that will help Ghana. Also, we promote investments in the upstream petroleum industry. We go for conferences, we attract a lot of investors to come in and explore so we can make some more discoveries. So we promote effective coordination and management of community relations. Most oil companies, when they come in, they want to do something for Ghana, so they go to the villages and all to see what they can, the infrastructure and other things they can do for Ghana. So we ensure that these things are well coordinated, because there's a case where an oil company went to a community, built a very sophisticated computer lab for the people, and unfortunately they didn't have electricity. So we ensure that whatever projects they do is in line with the government's development plan. So yeah, and then the main crux of the matter for today, we promote local content and local participation in the upstream sector. So someone may ask, what is local content? So basically, local content is the quantum or the percentage of locally produced materials, personnel, financing. I can see there are some banks here, goods and services rendered in the oil and gas industry, which can be measured in monetary terms. And the local participation, which is not our interest today at all, is the level of Ghanaian equity in companies. By law, before a foreign company can participate, the foreign company must ensure that it has a Ghanaian company as a partner. So that's local participation. So we would go through the pillars of local content. So one of the main objectives of local content is to maximize the patronage of Ghanaian goods and services. So if we can get cables in Ghana, there's no need for you to go to China and import them. We'd ensure you purchase those in Ghana. And then I'm sure this is where our presentation will focus on. One of the objectives is to increase employment of Ghanaian professionals in the sector. And also, we facilitate technology and skills transfer. And I've spoken about the local participation, and the last objective is develop local capabilities. Okay, so the local content regulations, I'm sure most of you know that the local content regulation for the oil and gas sector was passed in Parliament in 2013, and then it became effective from February 2014. So over the period, I don't know if anybody has had the chance to read the LI, which provides a lot of opportunities for Ghanaians. So the Petroleum Commission has developed so many pragmatic strategies to ensure that all the targets set in the LI can be achieved. and this has led to significant achievements. But for the purposes of our presentation, we'll focus on the HR sections of the LI 2204. I'd like to highlight that Section 3F of the Petroleum Commission Act gives us the mandate to do local content. So when you take the local content regulations, these are the highlights which talks about employment. So it says that Regulation 9A II says that anytime there's any vacancy, you should first look for a Ghanaian to employ. If you don't get any competent Ghanaian within or without, then you can go ahead and bring in an expatriate. And then also, the oil companies are supposed to bring us their employment and training plan for approval periodically for us to see the growth of our Ghanaians in the sector. Also, for cases where, Ghana started producing oil commercially in 2010. So there are certain key, very technical areas that we don't have the competence as a country. So of course, with those areas, we allow expatriates in, but there has to be a succession plan. So we look through the succession plans to see where our Ghanaians are and also see how we can accelerate succession. And then the law also says that all middle and junior positions must be occupied by Ghanaians. But unfortunately, the Ghanaians who are readily available, qualified and capable at the moment, and we don't really have them, and that's the challenge. So maybe the company might have identified a drilling engineer in Kazakhstan, but the person is not willing to even come back home. And there are certain low-level jobs, but because of certification, qualification, and the like, Ghanaians are unable to take advantage of this opportunity. So what have we done to ensure professional development in the oil and gas sector? The first thing we do is we facilitate work permits. So as part of our functions, you realize we coordinate a lot. So work permits, as we all know, is issued by Ghana Immigration Service. But because we are sort of technical advisors to the Immigration Service, so all companies operating in the upstream sector, before you bring in an expatriate, you bring in the work permit to us. And by the review of the work permit, we are able to determine whether such positions should be occupied by a Ghanaian national or a foreigner. And also we ensure that all companies advertise, not just locally, internationally, so we can get qualified Ghanaians to take over positions as opposed to expatriates. I've spoken about the succession plans already, and then we do accelerated localization. So what happens is that we have meetings with the TALOs, with the ENI, we have discussions, strategic meetings with them to deliberate on ways and means to ensure that a drilling engineer who is an expert, having a Ghanaian successor who, let's say, just finished KNUST, what are some of the training plans we can put in place to ensure that localization is not in 15 years or 20 years? And also we have a PCHR database, and that's the website. So we've shown this email address, to people anytime, especially the young graduates or people who are just about finishing school. You can upload, or if you have cousins and sisters and relatives, they can upload their CVs here. What happens is that before any company brings in an expatriate, we have to know the vacancies. So if we believe there are people in there, we push the CVs to them. We don't select people for them. We give the CVs to the companies and they do their own due diligence. Okay, so we get the opportunity. Anytime a vessel comes into our territorial waters, what happens is that they send us the crew on board or persons on board. So they let us know all those coming and their country of origin. So by so doing, we are able to say we won't allow this kind of maybe rustabout, AP, and all those people to be occupied by expatriates, because they are Ghanaians in Ghana who can do it and they are readily available. And one of the amazing projects the Petroleum Commission has done to promote professional development is our secondment project. So there's one called the Gossip, which happened about 2 years ago. It was in the newspapers and all. I believe Ghana as a country, we believe in certificates a lot. So we go to school a lot, but so the person has 2 masters, 2 PhDs, this first degree and all that. But for the hands-on training, we don't have them. Even for the technicians, the hands-on, the qualification, the certification is lacked. So we thought that, okay, there are lots of fresh graduates around. Why not do a 24-month project? We attach them to some oil companies for them to get their hands dirty. It will amaze you that some of the work permits, some of the expatriates have 2-3 years experience. So if we pick up our Ghanaian employees or graduates and give them the short-term training, they'll be fully baked to take advantage of such projects. And then one of the projects we did that was very successful was for the 10 project, where the installation, hookup and commissioning was happening. So it was for a period, and these expatriates, you can't force them to have succession plans because it's a transient period where they come and install the subsurface installations to the FPSO for production. So then what we did was we attached a number of Ghanaians on that project for internship. And after the period, all of them have been gainfully absorbed into the upstream sector. So we decided to do that Ghana Upstream Internship Project, but focused on the universities. So we decided to do that on a larger scale. So what we did was we advertised, people came in, we did 2 exams and got some people, and then talked to the oil companies. And before doing that program, we did a survey to see where the needs and the demands and everything are. Okay, so this year, as we did the university, about 5 technical institutions, we are working together with CODVET. We had meetings with the Ministry of Education to see how, number one, we can update or upgrade the technical institutions in Ghana and even their lecturers, so we can certify our own people. Because if you know the number of technical people that are foreigners on the vessels on board our waters, the numbers are quite large. So that's what we are doing. And also for standardization, you realize that we don't have standards for training. So Tyler would say, I need maybe a welder with NVQ level 3. Another company would say, okay, I prefer STCW. So there's no harmony. So we intend to have a certification that is customized for Ghana. So when you come to Ghana, this is our qualification. You can't say, I'm from Norway or I'm from UK, so I want to bring on my certification here. So that we are working on. In conclusion, we realize that there's a lot to do to develop the professionals in the oil and gas sector. If most of the oil companies indicate that our local content regulation LI 2204 is over ambitious, but we intend to pragmatically implement that. So we believe that by the implementation of our local content regulation, we'll have many Ghanaians who are professionals and who are also participating actively in the upstream oil and gas sector. Thank you.
When we were working in Obuasi, when I arrived there around 1984, the number of white people there was overwhelming. You think it is a white town, but our human resources even were having problems. They can just bring a white from anywhere, bring him, and then human resources will be asking, what is the skills of this person? They'll go and put him on a machine to work, and he doesn't know his left and his right. They'll bring somebody to the process plant. They say he's experienced like this. We who have even haven't gone outside this country, have only learned in this country. We have people in Obuasi that even some of the whites, they say this person is intelligent than he, the white there. They won't allow him to retire. So we must check all these things happen. They come here, they spend only 90 days, then they go for leave 1 month. They are just breaking our immigration laws and then doing all that thing. Just come here, after 90 days, they have to start paying some things. So 90 days, they go on leave. After 1 month, they come back. 90 days, they go and leave after. So we must check all these and do them properly. And Petroleum, you have started, so do it well.
I'm interested in the ownership law. That percentage, what is it? Is it 5%? And is it for ownership of the license or ownership in the company? Because I want to really understand that. That's I would have preferred if there was ownership in the company, but it appears I understand it's ownership in the license. So please explain. She mentioned ownership of ownership percentage in the company. So I wanted to understand whether it was a percentage of Ghanaian ownership, because before any oil company can come in, they must have a Ghanaian partner. So is that the partnership? Is it as a result of a license partnership or company partnership? Because that's something I want to understand.
You want to answer that now? When Tallow and Cosmos started drilling oil, we did not have a rep from Ghana Standard Board for training of calibration of the pump. They were using dipstick. I don't know if they are still using that dipstick. Yes, when they have to do calibration, they will take the machine to America to calibrate it and bring it back to Ghana. What is happening to that situation?
Very renewable but sustainable. What we are targeting right now is to limit global warming. That is why BP, Shell, Total have all invested billions. So my question is, what has the government of Ghana, in collaboration with the petroleum companies, what have they done to also help us attain that that percentage we are trying to achieve? Since we're all engaged in the Paris Accord.
Much for your question. So I guess I'll take the last one first. For issues on standardization, unfortunately, I'm not in the inspections unit. I know 2 years back we had meetings with Ghana Standard Authority to standardize how we measure on the vessel, especially on the FPSO. So I'm unable to give you to that. But my fellow colleague, he's a petroleum engineer, he would want to add one or two things.
Yeah, so in regards to metering, right, you're referring to the physical metering. Our team, with the Petroleum Commission, is working in hand with Ghana Standard Board. So currently they don't have the capacity, right, which we are working towards that. But then for the recent project, which is the 10, and then the ENI project, we were able to work on the physical metering system. We were able to calibrate the meters up to, 1% plus or minus error. So at the moment, we go there frequently, quarterly, to check the physical metering system, look at the error marking and everything. So we are not more using the dipstick that you're referring to. We continue to calibrate the meter and make sure that it's in according to standard. We went to we did a factory acceptance test, right, in Singapore, where the meters were. And then when they came in Ghana too, we did recalibration. And then the error margin is within acceptable limit based on industry standard.
Doc, I think I want to address your question. When you talk about local content and local participation, the spirit is we have the HR and the supply chain. So the supply chain is where the equity comes in. So for a company to participate in the sector, there should be a third company formed. So you're a foreign company, I'm a Ghanaian company. We should form a third company. And in the third company, I would have a minimum of 10% because I'm an indigenous Ghanaian company, and the foreign company will have 90%, assuming they want to go for the minimum. So then the third party, which is the JV company, bids for the contract or executes every activity. So for purposes of local content, there's nothing like licensing. Maybe if you are talking about the oil block, that is a separate discussion altogether because that doesn't fall under local content. The acquiring or the acquisition of an oil block comes with the licensing and all that, which is even done by the ministry. But for the purposes of local content, the foreign company, the local company gets married, they form a third company, and as an indigenous local company, I have a minimum of 10% stake in that new company, which we'll be using as a vehicle. Yes, I completely agree with you. The oil company, fortunately has a big brother, which is the mining sector, and then we've seen some of the good and then some of the not so good, which is having a lot of expatriates. So that's why in my presentation, I highlighted that we scrutinize the work permits thoroughly, and we are even reserving positions to ensure that expatriates Ghanaians who are ready to do the job are not pushed aside, and we take expatriates, because definitely when an expatriate comes in, they are paid more, and that is cost oil. Okay, so the last one was the fusion of the training plans to the tertiary institutions. For the engineering programs, there isn't much let me quote unquote problems regarding your curriculum. But what we realized is with the technical institutions, like I mentioned in my presentation, this year we intend to do a technical vocational secondment program, and we went around 5 institutions. One of the discussions, and when you go to Accra Technical University, you realize that there's a new that was sponsored by Tulip and their partner, the JTTC, where you are given a training on MVQ and all that. So for the technical institutions, together with the Ministry of Education, CODVET, we intend to have discussions on how to fuse these training into it. So when Ghanaians go through the training, they are fully baked. Because like I said, for the technicians, it's a problem because we have a lot of them who have the hands-on training, but they are not certified. They don't have the necessary qualifications and all. So for those ones, it's part of the secondment program, which we just started. So we would look at that as well. For the universities, the engineering and geology and all that, I think one of the key areas is the hands-on training, because that's one of the main things you need to also, so that we are working on to see how maybe we can get internships and things for you in the oil sector.